Hey everybody, it's Coach Collard here with Arizona Short Sale TV. We're coming to you from a different location today, just one different office, but always having to make shifts and adjust to things. So, I actually want to talk today to all you homeowners out there, all you buyers out there, everybody that's involved in a short sale transaction, and specifically if you at some point want to work with us or decide to work with us, some of what you're going to get and some of our philosophy behind what you're going to get. So first and foremost, we reference the Shift book. This is a book written by Gary Keller back in 2007. It actually was based on the Breakthrough to Mastery series, which was just cutting edge ideas to keep people in the transaction in a shifting market. And at the time, he was just talking about shifting, generally, appreciating to depreciating. This was long before the Alt-A meltdown and everything that came with it that created this distressed property market. We are seeing shifts in the market now that, as of today, which is August 25th or 24th, 2010, that are projecting out that we're going to see the biggest year of foreclosures in the history of man for 2011. And we're already into almost the last quarter of 2010, so we're expecting that to happen right now. So I'm going to share with you some of what we do to bring the transaction of a short sale to a cohesive structure to where everything's working together and everybody works in synchronicity rather than against each other. Traditional real estate transactions in the past were real estate agent versus real estate agent, seller versus buyer. Seller wants as much money out of it as he can, buyer wants to get the best deal he can, and everybody's working against each other. Mine's bigger than yours, I'm against you. It's every man for himself. The nature of a short sale transaction, and this may not be everybody's experience of a short sale transaction, but this is what we're going to recommend that it should be. And basically it should be parties working together. We've got an opportunity to have the seller's agent, which in this case would be us, the listing agent, and the buyer's agent, somebody writing an offer on a short sale, to work together and get the buyer and the seller on the same page to where we're working in the best interest of a closed transaction versus these are the 16 reasons why everybody sucks. We're not into that. We're into cohesive, collaborative work. So some of the buyer's issues. What would a buyer be concerned about, and why would we need to work cohesively with the buyer? Well, a buyer's concerned about getting a good deal. A buyer's concerned about the property values potentially going down during the transaction. They're going to be significantly concerned with their offer and how quickly the offer gets processed and taken to approval, because they don't want to pay too much for the property. Valid concern. At the same time, from the seller's transaction side and a listing agency side, which is us at Arizona Short Sale TV, and myself as a negotiator, what we're concerned about is keeping the buyer around so that we can get not only to the approval but close with the buyer, versus losing the buyer at the last second and having to go find another one and dragging the transaction on and on and on. Banks don't like that either. So one of the things that we do up front is we like to talk to buyers around putting a non-refundable deposit into escrow for 60 to 90 days so that they're in the transaction and there's a little bit of commitment with it. We don't like to see the fact that some buyers go out there and slap offers all over town until something sticks. When you write a short sale offer with us, we're going to close it. 9 times out of 10 it's going to get closed. It's based on experience, based on previous transactions. We can show that. So we're looking for commitment so that the buyer and the seller are working together, and that we know that we've got a solid offer, which is our responsibility, and at the same time a buyer that's going to stay in the transaction with us. Very important. Some of the things we deal with internally when we submit an offer to the bank is we want you guys to feel comfortable that we've already analyzed the offer, that we've already countered it, that we've looked at any offers that we get in. We've went through in our head at least a highest and best conversation, but it's not always about highest and best. It's about the most likely to close transaction. So we want a buyer that's got a legitimate chance to close. So we're going to review the LSR up front, the loan status report. We're going to review all the context of what they're doing. Is it a conventional loan? Is it an FHA loan? Does it fit the requirements? Did they have anything in there? Are they writing other offers? How much money down, that type of thing. We're going to analyze that to see what we prudently think, based on our experience as a listing agents team, what's the most likely to close. And that's important that we do that up front, not only for our seller's sake, but that benefits the lending institution that's going to short sell as well. They need to know and be confident that we've done the homework on the front, so that when we submit the transaction in, that we're smoothly flowing through the process, rather than, hey, we got a BPO that says this, that, and the other thing. We're always going to take care of that up front, and I'm going to strongly influence the lending institution to understand that if they're in a disagreement with us, it's likely they have a bad BPO. And we can discuss that a little later. So there's also some things that we do. So in case you're a buyer out there or an investor looking at writing an offer on one of our listings, we'll let you know that we do some things up front with the seller that create cohesiveness in the transaction as well. So we do collect an upfront fee from our sellers. We want the commitment that they're in the transaction with us and that they're working with us, not against us. So when we require updated transaction information, the lender makes a request, hey, I need updated bank statements, updated stuff because it took 60 or 90 days. We have sellers that are on board with that and they get that stuff to us in a timely fashion. We also have a requirement in our business when somebody lists with us that they go talk to an attorney, a real estate attorney, as well as a tax attorney or CPA up front, and that they cover all the deficiency from a financial standpoint and all the tax deficiency conversations from a tax standpoint up front, and are feeling good and 98% confident that they would go through with the short sale. Then when we get the approval, we always have them sign off on that again, and there's another opportunity to go back to the attorneys and the CPAs and verify everything, and we do that as well. So it's very important that we have them working not only with commitment but responsibilities during the transaction, so that we have a clear to close opportunity once we get the approval, so there's no things that inhibit whether we close or not. So very, very important to maximize your ability to close. Lender processes and communication. This is a big thing. First and foremost, we have a mindset called the Outback, and you've probably heard the Outback out there from some of the guys out there in the industry. But the Outback is foundational for us. It's the philosophy that we work from. In fact, it was a personal revelation for me in my life to establish the Outback as a way of thinking and a standard process. So we're going to influence the lender in a couple of ways. We won't take no for an answer. We come from a position of authority. We treat people like people, so we're never going to run over them and just completely alienate them, but we will impose our will on them. So I'll just be really clear about that. We do things like we verify our offers up front. We go in knowing that it's a good offer, that we can close the offer. Just different things like that. So we have a mindset that says it's our transaction to close on behalf of the seller. The lender is going to play and participate with us. And we do things intentionally with authority, but we don't alienate the lender. We impose our will in a compassionate fashion, if you will. So kind of nicely saying we get them to do what we want and what's most appropriate, because we know we'll save them more money. Lastly, I'm going to share with you, we have technology systems in place. We're 100% paperless, 100% mobile, 100% of the time. So regardless of where I personally am, I can manage my entire file, securitized, online, browser-based, but always with security, with logins, restrictions, and everything. And I can manage my whole file, handle every conversation, note every conversation, and manage the entire process 100% electronically. Why is that important? Well, let's say the lenders revert back to the old days and suddenly they lost 75 pages of faxes that I sent them. So I can send that fax out back to them, the exact fax that I sent before, to any number they give me to send it to in a matter of 30 seconds. And I can do that 100% mobile, 100% electronic. So very important that our technology systems support us in that. Let's say I'm driving down the road and I need a phone number real quick. I can dial in through my Droid phone. I can find out in a matter of 30 seconds what my loan number is for a particular transaction, what the phone number is for the lender, who my negotiator is, what my last conversations were for the last however long. I can see the whole transaction online through my mobile phone or computer. So I've got 24/7 access available to that as a negotiator, and we got a team of people that are here to support us in that if I'm not available. So we really cover the technology pieces: faxing, technology, online storage, the whole nine. So I share that with you because it's important that from a shifting perspective, we've done all we can to bulletproof the transaction. And I want you guys to hear that. Bulletproofing the transaction maximizes your ability as a seller to sell and a buyer to buy without a bunch of shenanigans and waiting forever. So we're going to leave it at that. Appreciate your time today. ArizonaShortSellTV.com. We'll see you soon.